Hey, you're watching the Half Asian Tarot Queen. Just reminding you, we're starting to get closer to the end of the month. This month's giveaway is the Sacred Destiny Oracle. The giveaway is headquartered in the August monthly reading, which is, I'll link it here. It's also on the main page of the channel. And then there's like links in the description of that video that show you where you can enter. There's only a few entries, so the chances of winning are super good. But I'm going to start the reading with the Mystical Shaman Oracle, which was the giveaway last month. And we'll see where we go. If you're new to the channel, I just want to remind you that the videos on this channel are not arranged according to date or zodiac sign, as is often done. I'm not really aspiring to be a tarot reader. I love tarot, and anyways, so this is kind of like a hobby, really, more than anything. Anyway, so I'm arranging the videos according to storyline. So there's like videos that might be related to this video. If this resonates with you, I'll link related videos up here. I also have the videos arranged in playlists on the channel so that you can browse the playlists where I link related videos that way also. So, on to the reading. It's interesting because it's like there's certain themes of cards that I've gotten a lot of this month. Very interesting. Okay. All right. Oh, I think this was not in the last reading, but the one before, the Blade. And this is a super big theme in the August monthly reading about like a harsh truth being told. And just the whole month of August was about this harsh truth being revealed, and then having this recalibration, and then the beginning of this new era. So that's interesting that this is going on. We also have the Wind, the Lower World, and the Owl. So all of these cards have been showing up recently. But the Wind, this is a card that speaks to change, you know. The answers are blowing in the wind, you know, but this is having courage to face the change, you know, and it's just sort of like, when there's a change in your external world, there is a change in your internal world that's happening as well, because it's just sort of like, you know, we're all manifesting from this, you know, and so it's just sort of like, when there's a healing or a shift that happens here, then your external world is going to have to adapt to that, you know. And so it's interesting because the next card we get is the Lower World. So this is a card of like the unconscious realms, and having exploring that, you know, which oftentimes it's like things that are unconscious or that we sort of dissociate from in our conscious minds are like things that are too painful to acknowledge. So often there's just like these deep wounds that are not healed, that have to be, you know, surfaced and allowed to like heal, you know. And this will, when we go through this inner work and do this, it's really painful because, you know, we'll be healing this whole wound, and then inevitably like all the people and situations around us are going to have to change, and it's just like difficult, you know. For me, for sure, like I've been going through this process, and it's just like, you know, kind of retracing the steps to the original wound, because sometimes it's like you have this wound and you adapt to it, you know, and so then it's like maybe some sort of situation wasn't set right. You got, for example, like you were bullied and you didn't want to deal with it, so you just kept like avoiding it, you know, but then you kept attracting more bullies, you know, like even bigger bullies, you know, in your life, until you got to this point where it's just like you just collapsed, you know. And this kind of speaks to that, you know, like finally figuring out what it is about yourself that you're like accepting, or this pattern that, you know, you've used as a foundation of your life, where your perception isn't right, you know, and having to reconcile that, you know. And then it's like this shockwave, like a mushroom cloud, because everything is going to have to like adapt to this new. And there's, you know, going to be people that aren't going to necessarily be happy about it, because maybe there's people in your life that have like all of their life, you know, been used to this certain, being able to like bully you or take advantage of you, and then you finally like stand your ground, and then it's just like your friends are going to change, like everything will change, because, you know, like you're going to attract different people in your life, and you're also no longer going to tolerate the situation of people that are taking advantage, you know. So it's a big shift, you know. But then we also have the owl. So this is a card of your ancestors and the wisdom of your ancestors watching over you, and the signs and synchronicities that will be guiding you through this change. You know, like for me, like I've talked about this before, like my father passed away, and ever since then, it's like at critical moments, like this a helicopter, because my dad was a helicopter pilot. I have these helicopters fly over me. And it's like amazing, you know, because it's just like he's still here. And like the other day, I'm going to the Muse to get some general energies, but I'll tell you this story while I'm shuffling. You know, like I've been taking care of my mom. She's got dementia. It's a lot of work. It's really hard. I've been having to do this, you know, by myself. I've been basically the full-time caretaker of my mom and my dad, you know, for the last 9 months. I haven't had any help. I haven't had any financial support. Like, I haven't been able to work. It's been a really difficult moment for me. And, you know, but if I give up, like, the consequences for my mom will be really bad, you know. So it's just sort of like, I get really tired sometimes, and I'm like super overwhelmed, because it's like you know, it's a really what do you call it, unreasonable burden for one person, and like nobody would be able to withstand it, you know. And I mean, I think that's kind of the point. But like, you know, the other day I was having a really tough day, and I was like crying. I mean, I just hit the wall. Like, I just didn't have any more energy left. And so 3 times that day, like, I broke down in tears. And the crazy thing was that each time that happened, my dad, or like a helicopter flew over, you know, just like, you know, it's just sort of like my dad just sort of like, I see you, you know, like, because it just feels like there's no help, and there, you know, and I'm all alone, you know. Then I get this message from my dad, like, I see you, you know. And then I like wrote this whole post about it, where I was just sort of like putting my truth, and it was kind of liberating for me to actually put it out there. And when I sat down to write the post, the helicopter flew over the last time, you know, and I'm like, oh my God, you know. So it's just like my dad is just sort of like, don't give up, you know. So, you know, that's the signs and synchronicities. Like, you know, even if we aren't able to speak directly to that realm, like they can speak to us in a different kind of way, you know. So okay, so overall energies, we got the Wheel, we got the Empress, and we got the 5 of Voices. So wow, this speaks to a change. Like, things are shifting. Like, there is a change happening, and, you know, there's no way around it. That fell out right under this wind, the change. It's changing, you know. And then we got the Empress, you know. So this Empress is like fully empowered, you know. She's the queen of all queens. She gives birth to things. She creates. She's a creator. And it's interesting because it fell right on top of this lower world. So it's like you heal these wounds, and then you step into your power and you become the Empress, you know. And then we have the Five of Voices, you know, which is interesting because I was talking about how, you know, when you heal that, you know, like, not everyone's going to benefit from it, because maybe there's people that have been benefiting, you know, from taking advantage of you for a long time. And so when you step into your power, like, there's going to be people who are going to lose. They're going to lose out, you know, because they're no longer going to be able to benefit from that anymore. So it's like, it's a difficult moment. Okay, so now I'm going to the Golden Art Nouveau to pick some general cards just to see if I can clarify a little bit more about what's going on. But yeah, this month has been, I mean, it's tough. I mean, last month was really tough too, and it's just like, truth's coming to light, you know, and not everyone can handle the truth. I mean, that was a reading from a couple of days ago, actually, or one of the more recent ones. But yeah, like, a lot of the readings have been pointing to, like, this love story trying to come through and being oppressed, you know, like, people, like, having sort of, like, delusional ideas about reality that are, like, oppressing other people, you know. Okay, so at the bottom we have the Chariot. So this is like seizing the reins of a situation and, like, moving forward, like, you know, that speaks to being empowered and like being able to move forward. We have the Eight of Cups, the Four of Swords, and we have the Knight of Cups. So this is interesting because it's just like the wheel, you know, and this change speaks to leaving a situation behind that's, like, no longer serving you. Like, you've maybe invested a lot in it. Like, maybe, you know, part of what's been holding this change back is that, you know, there are people that have come to depend on, like, this structure as it was, and even if it wasn't serving you, it was serving someone, you know. So there's a lot of obligation, like, kind of holding you to the situation, even if it wasn't serving you, you know. And so but this situation is changing, you know. And then we have the Four of Swords, you know, which is a card of sort of rest and, like, contemplation, you know. So it's just like, before you give birth to something, there's this period of gestation of 9 months. It's interesting. I mean, the thing that just came to me, because I've been taking care of my parents for 9 months, and, you know, I haven't been able to work, you know. It's been very financially draining. It's been very emotionally, physically, everything draining, you know. But it's just like, but, you know, I've been, like, tried to stay focused on, like, a positive outcome, and, like, these little pieces have fallen into place over the course of that 9 months. And what's interesting is that they're all starting to, like, come together into this, like, holistic new path that's emerging, you know. But, like, so sometimes, like, when you're resting, like, it seems like nothing's happening, but actually there's a lot happening. There's stuff cooking on the burners, you know, but you have to wait for it to manifest. So then we have the Knight of Cups. So this is like an offer of love that's coming through, you know, but it looks like with this offer, like, somebody's going to lose out. Like, there's going to be winners and losers in this equation, you know. Like, you know, people were benefiting from whatever the delusional oppressed situation was, you know, obviously. And so they're, you know, it's not all coming up roses, but it's just, you know, it's a just outcome. So then we have the Page of Pentacles. So this speaks to a new beginning, you know, but it's just the beginning, you know, it's like nothing big, but we're moving towards something, you know. We put an intention out there, and we've started to step forward into this new beginning. And then we have the Two of Cups, which is like this beautiful love story, you know. So it's just like, maybe that's what this Empress is trying to manifest, you know. But needing to heal these wounds in order to get ready for that, you know. And then we have the Tower. So whatever this love is that's coming online, like, it's gonna blow up some pattern or way of being that's been around for a while. And you know, it's gonna be dramatic, because, you know, like, not everyone's gonna be happy about the outcome. But, you know, at the same time, like, if people are being oppressed and, like, unjustly, oh my gosh, I just split this card to shuffle, and like the Tower again. So it's like, boom, like big drama, you know. And it's just like, sometimes that has to happen, you know, like when people have the wrong idea and they won't give up, and they are just trying to force their hand, and like they'll lie, cheat, steal, do whatever they have to do to get their way, you know. Like, sometimes that can be dramatic, but you can't let someone unjustly have their way if it's not right, you know. And if other people are being harmed by that, you know, you can't do that, you know. I mean, I can say that, I mean, I can't say specifically what's going on, but that's for sure happening in my life right now. And like, it's painful. It's really painful. And it's like harsh, you know, because you can see that this other person has a completely delusional idea about how reality works, and they've been like camped out in that like wrong perspective for a really long time. So like, for them to have to like move into a different way of being is really painful, because they have like no skill set to adapt. They have no desire to change. They're resisting it, which is just pissing everyone off around them and making it even harder for them, you know. But they like totally don't see that, you know. And so it's just sort of like, it's painful to watch these things sometimes. Okay, Six of Materials, the Hanged Muse on top of the Four of Swords, and the Moon. So this is interesting, because there's this whole thing about the moon and the cycles of the moon and this harsh blade, you know. So I might refer back to the full moon reading, because maybe there was something there, or there might be something in the next upcoming one. But we'll keep that in mind. So the Six of Materials is a card of giving and receiving and having that come into balance. So whatever this is that's changing or walking away from is allowing something to come into balance. Because, yeah, like I said, there are people being oppressed by these wrong perceptions, you know. And then the Hanged Muse. So this is a card of just like taking a step back and having perspective, you know. But it's also a card of like, when you re-enter the fray, it's like there's a sacrifice that's going to have to be made in order to like move forward. So it's like this Empress is like contemplating this, you know, because there's this great potential here, but there's going to be a sacrifice that's going to have to be made, you know. Like, not everyone's going to win out on this outcome, and that's why there's been such a long pause, you know. There's going to be a lot of emotion that's going to be released in this, you know. It's going to be a very climactic moment, whatever this is. So, wild times. Climax! Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see where we go with this, because this is really like a big freaking climax brewing. Like, I mean, this is some sort of like, you know, drama that's been brewing for like decades kind of stuff, you know. I mean, and it's gonna change. And it's like, it's the kind of stuff that like nobody thought was ever gonna change, and it's gonna change, you know. Okay, so we get to, at the bottom we got wisdom. You know, there's some lessons to be learned from whatever this is. And we got relaxation, and we got abundance. So, you know, this is some difficult stuff to move through, but keep your eye on the prize. I think that was a reading recently, because this is where we're going to. We're going to relaxation and abundance. Like, that's going to be the ultimate outcome, if you are aligned with the truth. Okay, well, good luck with all these changes, and I'll check back soon with an update.